Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Guys, thank you so much for registering this course, 462 Organic Spectroscopy, Advanced Organic Spectroscopy. I'm Dr. Seemal Jelani, your instructor in this course, and I'm Associate Professor in the Department of Chemistry. So I welcome all of you, and I have given the first lecture to the even students, I think even students on Tuesday, and we are going to see one another twice a week, remote as well as F2F. So organic chemistry. What is organic chemistry? The first question is that you know that spectroscopy is a very important and crucial topic in chemistry. I'm not talking about the organic chemistry. I'm first of all giving you a broad intro of spectroscopy, right? So no doubt the syllabus of spectroscopy is beyond your imagination. It's very broad. And this term spectroscopy is a general term which is used for the instrumental process. आप इसको analytical analysis भी कह सकते हैं, by which we gather information about the molecular structure through careful analysis, and the categories of these analyses are either absorption, emission, and scattering of electromagnetic radiation by the compounds. So if I talk about this thing, so this is the general concept of spectroscopy. So this spectroscopy is no matter very broad subject, as we need to study a lot of techniques like IR, NMR, UV, EPR, mass bar. In addition to this, we also need to study molecular spectroscopy. So these are the different areas. Now in this course, we will focus to IR, NMR, UV, mass spectroscopy, introductory level. Not we are going to dig deeply, but introductory level, so that we can acquire the skills to interpret, how to interpret. So the main thing is that we will work with the electromagnetic radiation, and we will learn the skills how to interpret electromagnetic radiations. Okay, so the basic thing, you need to know basically, first of all, the fundamentals of spectroscopy. If you have strong grip on the fundamentals of spectroscopy, only then you can understand the different types. So हमारा जो basics हैं spectroscopy के, we need to define the goal, and the goal is to understand the fundamentals of spectroscopy. So studying the properties of matter through its interaction with different frequency components of the electromagnetic spectrum. So this is spectron is actually a Latin word which means ghost or spirit. And if we go to the Greek word, तो ग्रीक में इसका मतलब है to see. ठीक है? We can see light, but we can see the visible light only, and we can observe the light's interaction with different degrees of freedom of the molecule. So each type of spectroscopy, different light frequency gives a different picture. That is the spectrum. So I can say that this spectroscopy is a general methodology that can be adapted in many ways to extract the information you need. हमारी जो main objective होता है to get the information about the unknown. So इसमें हम energies of electronic भी देखते हैं, vibrational भी देखते हैं, rotational states भी देखते हैं, structure भी देखते हैं, symmetry of molecules भी हम observe करते हैं, और we will get some dynamic information. So before I will go to the basics of spectroscopy, I need to define some goals. Goals क्या हैं? अगर broadly मैं आपसे discuss करूं तो इस course में, understands how light interacts with matter. and how you can use this to quantitatively understanding your sample. This is the main goal. So student learning outcome would be that students are able to understand how the light interacts with matter and how you can quantitatively understand your sample. This is the first goal. Second goal is understand spectroscopy the way you understand other common tools of measurement like the watch or the ruler. So मेरा दूसरा जो एक standard goal इसमें है कि you can understand this spectroscopy in such a way that you know how to use ruler and how to use watch. Okay, तो ये हमने देखना है और इसमें learning outcome would be that you are able to understand this tool which is known as spectroscopy. So हमें पता है कि spectroscopy is a set of tools, and when you put all together in different ways, the main objective is to understand the system and solve the chemical problem. So this is the 3 goals and the 3 learning outcomes. So सबसे पहले हम आ जाते हैं इसकी तरफ, basics of spectroscopy. Understanding the fundamentals of basics of spectroscopy and understanding the fundamentals of spectroscopy. What is this? ठीक है? What is this and how does it work? If I'm not wrong, I would say spectroscopy is a complete, huge, gigantic world. ठीक है? And of course, it's a very broad area. Sometimes students feel uncomfortable because they have this understanding that this is a very difficult. No, it's not the difficult if you have a strong grip on the fundamentals. So today I will give you some fundamentals of spectroscopy before diving into this area individually as per the course contents. Target, identification of organic compounds. Now, what is the target? We are studying exclusively organic spectroscopy. Then what is the target? Okay, so target हमारे आ जाते हैं organic compounds, right? So to understand the organic compound, we are using latest technique, modern, accurate, ठीक है? Okay, लेकिन जो इसकी identification of organic compounds है, it's not the latest approach, it's not the latest practice. Okay, इसकी practice जो थी वो बड़ी rigorous होती थी in the past also, right? और past में जो research होती थी जिसमें कि you need to find about the organic compounds, unknown organic compounds, and to know the potential of these organic. If you know the structure of the compound, only then you can predict the potential of the compound. तो past में ज़्यादा rigorous होती थी, लेकिन वो बहुत time consuming process था. क्यों? क्योंकि first of all, organic chemistry was discarded because this was the mindset of most of the chemists of that time, that vital force theory, जिसे कि vitalism कहा जाता था, is there, okay, और proposed भी की गई थी और widely accepted भी की गई थी, and that's why a little attention was given to organic compounds, because due to the vitalism, that vital means life force, yani कि you need life to create an organic compound. This was the proposal, and it was widely accepted as a way to explain that this vital force must be existed within organic material, or it is not exist in any inorganic material. लेकिन accidentally, when Friedrich Hohler, ठीक है, he was working with ammonium cyanate, ठीक है, So accidentally, he synthesized biological compound urea, which is a component of urine, which is now called the Holler synthesis. तो वो काम कर रहा था अमोनियम साइनेट के साथ, जो कि एक इनऑर्गेनिक सॉल्ट था, बट आउटकम जो था वो यूरिया था, अ बायोलॉजिकल कंपाउंड। ठीक है, तो यहां से एक डाइवर्जन हुई कि इफ यूरिया इज द कंपोनेंट ऑफ यूरिन, यूरिन बिलोंग्स टू लिविंग थिंग्स, तो ये कैसे हुआ? आई एम नॉट हियर टू गो इन डिटेल कि कैसे हुआ। आपको पता है कि आइसोमेरिज्म इज वेरी कॉमन इन ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स। ठीक है, इसके बाद जो वाइटल फोर्स का जो प्रपोजल था वो डिस्कार्ड हुआ, एंड देन अ न्यू लाइफ वाज गिवन टू द ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स। सो हमें अब देखना है कि स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी जो है वो क्या चीज है, और पास्ट में हम इसको कैसे टारगेट करते थे। ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स का हमें पता है, पोटेंशियल ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स हमें पता है, origin of organic compounds. If you go and dig the history, you can find this vital force ka I have already explained to you, and the accidental discovery of urea by heating just the ammonium cyanate by Friedrich Holler. You can understand the discovery also. Now we come to this thing, that classical methods. So there are two methods by which we can go for the spectroscopy. Now, first is the, if I talk about the मतलब areas करूँ मैं बात इसकी, areas of research कह लूँ मैं, ठीक है, और methodology तो I can say, so there are two broad. Number one is the classical, okay, classical method, I would say classical method or technique, and the second is the spectroscopy. So second आपकी आ जाती है spectroscopy. Spectroscopy, right? So let's dive to this classical method, this method and or technique. क्या होता था पास्ट में? अननोन कंपाउंड एनालिसिस जब होता था, अननोन कंपाउंड एनालिसिस, सो इसमें क्या होता था कि एलिमेंटल एनालिसिस किया जाता था, because that was the crucial step, time consuming step but crucial step. What is element analysis? एक ऐसा process where a sample of some material, whatever the material, soil, water, waste, body fluids, minerals, chemical compounds, इन्हें analyze किया जाता था इनकी elemental analysis देखने के लिए, ठीक है? So thorough investigation was done for every element. Every element had its own specific test. The tools क्या होते थे उस वक्त? What were the tools? Tools हमारे होते थे उस वक्त specific chemical tests for every element. Specific chemical test, इसे हम कहते थे qualitative analysis. इसे कहते हैं हम qualitative analysis. इसमें हमें by digging and by going through the specific chemical test, we can understand that what is the quality of the sample. और ये qualitative test only and only was done to find the element. For example, जिस वक्त हम इसके टेस्ट करते थे तो हमारे पास दो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स होते थे, एलिमेंट्स कौन से हैं और कितने हैं. सो यहाँ पर अगर मैं डिफाइन करती हूँ तो एक आ जाता है क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस एंड द सेकंड वन इज क्वांटिटेटिव एनालिसिस. सो क्वालिटेटिव में हमें क्या पता चलता था? क्वालिटेटिव में हमें पता चलता था इंपेरिकल फॉर्मूला, और क्वांटिटेटिव में हमें क्या पता चलता था? यहाँ पर हमें पता चलता था क्वालिटेटिव में इंपेरिकल फॉर्मूला. ओके। और क्वांटिटेटिव में हमें क्या पता चलता था? मैस पता चल जाता कि कौन सी चीज कितने परसेंट है। सो ये बेसिक टूल्स थे साइंस रिसर्चर्स के पास, जिसपे कि वो अननोन के लिए डिगिंग करते थे टू गेट द नोन वन। सो क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस सिर्फ और सिर्फ एलिमेंट टेस्ट होता था, और क्वांटिटेटिव होता था टू फाइंड द अमाउंट। फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर मैं कहती हूँ कि मेरे पास 100 ग्राम्स एक सैंपल है और इसमें कार्बन और नाइट्रोजन है, तो मुझे पता होना चाहिए था द रेशियो ऑफ कार्बन एंड नाइट्रोजन। इस 100 ग्राम सैंपल में रेशियो कितनी है कार्बन की और नाइट्रोजन की। So far, the identification of each element, first step of the analysis, was always qualitative analysis or qualitative elemental test. We come to know the kinds of elements. तो हमें पता चल गया कि कौन कौन सी kinds के elements हैं, empirical formula आ गया। तो second step हमारे पास होता था, after finding the elements, second stage was known as quantitative test or quantitative elemental test. So this series of tests calculated the amount of each element present in the unknown. Okay. Okay. So हमें फिर पता चल जाता था सारा कुछ इस चीज से। तो परसेंटेज ऑफ एलिमेंट और रेशियो ऑफ एलिमेंट्स इन कंपाउंड्स, हमारे पास एक एम्पिरिकल फॉर्मूला आ जाता था। और उसके बाद नेक्स्ट स्टेप में हम मोलेकुलर मास फाइंड आउट करते थे। और जब मोलेकुलर मास हमें पता चल जाता था, तो हमें सारी क्वांटिटीज पता चल जाती थी। सो आफ्टर कैलकुलेटिंग द मोलेकुलर मास, फाइनली वी गॉट द मोलेकुलर फॉर्मूला ऑफ द कंपाउंड हमारे पास आ जाता था। फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर मैं बात करूं ग्लूकोज की, तो C6H12O6 इंपेरिकल फॉर्मूला। रेशियोज हमें बता रहा है कि कार्बन टू हाइड्रोजन टू ऑक्सीजन, व्हाट इज द रेशियो, and of course we can calculate the molecular mass. For example, sulfuric acid H2SO4, empirical formula में ratio आपको पता चल रही है kinds of elements, and now you know that 98 is the molecular mass of the sulfuric acid. लेकिन ये process was actually time consuming, and we actually used the tool in the classical methods or technique, and that tool was specific chemical reaction. ये हमारा tool होता था। इसके ड्रॉबैक्स थे बहुत ज्यादा। Time consumption was too high, accuracy was not up to the required standard, very uncomfortable, wastage, high wastage, and not cost effective. For example, in organic chemistry, if you are dealing with the compound to understand its potential medicinal point of view, yet if you are doing the drug analysis, and before going to the drug analysis, you need to understand what is this. So if you have the 100 grams of the sample, तो ये जो classical methods और इसकी जो techniques थी, they were more than 20 chemical steps. The majority, most of the sample was wasted. Most of the sample was wasted in the preliminary examination. और end में आपके पास जो outcome होता था, that is in the milligram, and milligram amount was not enough to go for the further digging. So इस वजह से ये wastage बहुत high थी और cost effective था. So these factors have high burden because mostly the organic compounds were identified for drugs or their medicinal potential. And for drug analysis, many complex multiple steps, more than 20 present, and due to which the risk of wastage was always high and less accuracy. Okay, less accuracy इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा थी. Now we come to the second thing, and that is the modern approach. Modern approach and technique. सबसे बड़ी बात, no test is required. There is no test, specific chemical test. So हमने discard किया idea multiple tests. No wastage, no multiple reactions. ठीक है? So we can easily find and identify smooth identification of molecules and calculations of molecular mass. अब हम आ जाते हैं कि हमारा जो ये मॉडर्न अप्रोच है, इसमें हमारा टूल क्या है? व्हाट इज द टूल ऑफ स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी? इसमें हमारा जो टूल ऑफ स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी है, दैट इज द electromagnetic radiations. So with the help of electromagnetic radiation, we can identify molecules and calculate their molecular mass, molecular formula. In spectroscopy, we can quickly calculate the molecular mass by mass spectroscopy. So in spectroscopy, we study the interaction of matter with electromagnetic radiation and then interpretation of outcome of interaction. कि आपने इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन का इंटरेक्शन किया किसके साथ? अंडर ऑब्जर्वेशन मैटर के साथ. अब वो कंपाउंड है, एटम है, मॉलिक्यूल है, और उसके बाद इंटरेक्शन के बाद जो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन आपके पास बाहर आई है, उसकी आपने इंटरप्रिटेशन करनी है. यानी कि यू आर डीलिंग ओनली विद द इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन. जो आपने यूज की है इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन, उसकी इंटरेक्शन जब होती है मैटर के बाद, उसके बाद आकर आपने बाहर जो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन आई है उसको इंटरप्रेट करना है. इंटरप्रिटेशन भी आपने इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन की करनी है कि उसका इंटरेक्शन किस किस्म का था मैटर के साथ. इज दैट ओके? सो हम कहते हैं कि द होली इंटरेक्शन ऑफ EMR is with the metal, right? So अब मैं आपको एक छोटी सी एग्जाम्पल जो है वो यहाँ पर करवाती हूँ, so that you can understand these types of electromagnetic radiation with matter. For example, let's have the another slide. ठीक है, मैं एक for example ये आपका एक मैटर है, right? This is the matter. ठीक है, आप यहाँ से you are giving the electromagnetic radiations. So this is the EMR, electromagnetic radiation. ये EMR जो है electromagnetic radiations, इसका इंटरेक्शन आपने मैटर के साथ किया. अब ये इसके अंदर से पास थ्रू होगी. पास थ्रू होने के बाद इसके डिफरेंट है इंटरेक्शंस, और पास होने के बाद when it will come out, right? So this part we interpret. इसको हम पढ़ते हैं, अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं, पॉन्डरिंग करते हैं. ठीक है, तो ये पार्ट आपका इंटरप्रेट होती है. तो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन आपने पास की थ्रू द सब्सटेंस, and then you understand what type of interaction is done with matter. ये एक आपका बेसिक. So electromagnetic radiation interact with matter. Interaction and interpretation both are for electromagnetic radiations. We do not observe matter directly. Therefore, we send these electromagnetic radiation to find what is actually present in the matter. What happened? What type of interaction was done? It's the electromagnetic radiation only जिसको कि हमने focus किया होता है. So when EMR emits out after interaction, then we study the changes in electromagnetic radiation. What type of changes has occurred to this? And then we interpret them. That is the outcome. So tool हमारा क्या है? ठीक है, tool को हमने use किया, medium में हमने pass किया, and then in the end we get the information. Tool कौन सा है? EMR. सब medium क्या है? Substance. और इंटरप्रिटेशन EMR जो है वो आपको इंफॉर्मेशन देगा. नाउ द नेक्स्ट पार्ट इज टू अंडरस्टैंड द टाइप्स ऑफ इंटरेक्शंस. ओके, नाउ वी कम टू द टाइप्स ऑफ इंटरेक्शन. types of interactions. Okay, let's have types of interaction, electromagnetic radiation with, किसकी आप कर रहे हैं, electromagnetic radiations with matter. Okay, so when electromagnetic radiation interaction occurs with matter, तो हमारे पास तकरीबन 5 possibilities आती हैं. Number 1, okay, electromagnetic radiation may absorb in the compound. ठीक है, इसको हम कहेंगे absorption. ठीक है. Number 2, electromagnetic radiation may reflect. ठीक है, when it interacting with the matter, it may reflect. इसे हम कहेंगे reflection. Okay. Third possibility है कि electromagnetic radiation may absorb some compound and then transmit. इसे कहेंगे हम transmission. Fourth possibility is कि electromagnetic radiation after interaction with matter emits some light. इसको हम कहेंगे emission. Okay. And last but not the least is कि on the interaction of electromagnetic radiation, ठीक है, with the matter, light तो emit होगी but in scatter कर जाएगी, तो इसे हम कहेंगे scattering. Okay, so these are the types of interactions. All are these possibilities can occur upon the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with matter. And out of all these in this course, we will focus on this. Number 1 is the absorption. Number 2 is the emission. And number 3 is the scattering. Okay? So this is all about the basic information about spectroscopy और उसके fundamentals और उसकी types of interactions. And in the next lecture, we will start with the first kind that is known as the, if we opt absorption based spectroscopy, then how it will work. I hope you understand the lecture. And please, it is a request, please visit the Moodle on a daily basis. Thank you so much.